Hello, everybody. We have Mr. Scott Harrell, CEO, and Mr. Jay Shivaram, VP Engineering and Head of Operations India of Infoblox. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to Business World.
Good afternoon, Rivas. Glad to be here.
Likewise, thank you for taking the time out. I know it's a really busy time of the week. Middle of the week is when things are most rushed, but nevertheless, you took the time out. So I will not beat about the bush too much and take the interview forward. My first question for you is: you say over 50% of Infoblox global engineering team is based in India. What specific products or functions are owned and led from India? Mr. Shivram, I'll ask you this first and then we'll invite Mr. Harrell to answer the same.
Sure. You're right that a significant portion, in fact, over 50% of our engineering workforce is based in India. But not just that, we have all of our company functions with a very meaningful presence in India as well. And as you look at the products that we work on, I'd say a significant portion of our enterprise DDI products, which is DNS, DHCP, and IP address management, and our security products are built from India and built for the world.
Right. Mr. Harrell, would you like to add to this point?
I just say like the way we think about the about India is it's our most strategic site in the world. Our biggest site is in here in Bangalore, but we also have a very large presence in Trivandrum as well as Pune. And so we view this as a hub for all types of innovation, whether it's product led, whether it's IT led, whether it's finance led, HR led, whatever it might be. We have representatives here who are driving impact not just locally in the Indian market, but also globally across the world.
Mr. Harrell, you're talking about strategic decision making and its heart lying in India. So, what level of strategic decision making authority sits with your India leadership team right now?
Uh, Large amounts. So, like we have whole functions that are driven from here, whether or not it's within the finance organization, all of our purchasing is driven from here. We have so they have that's a huge amount of authority on from a monetary point of view. Jay's team runs our single biggest product line from here and drives it from an engineering point of view. So, you know, there's massive amounts of authority based here from a business point of view,
Right.
for global impact, not just for local impact.
Right. But usually, as we can see the trend right now, that a large amount of job cuts are happening in India, especially if we look at the conventional hiring enterprise like a TCS or a Wipro and so on. They are cutting in thousands, if not lakhs, as we speak. So, why is Infoblox expanding its hiring in India at a time when many global tech firms are cutting jobs? Mr. Shivram, that's for you.
Yeah, I mean, this actually reflects our confidence as a company, right? Our business is growing really well. We believe that India is a great source of talent, and not just talent. India is a great source of innovation for us. We've got, like Scott said, not just product teams, we've got engineering, we've got finance, IT support, and this entire enterprise microcosm being represented here gives us the ability to innovate across company problems. And that is why we are growing really well in India. We're growing well as a company, but in order for us to help scale to companies' problems and companies' opportunities, we need to expand our footprint. And this is the best place to do it because we've got scale, we've got capability, we've got talent.
Okay, that's fair enough. I think India is already known as a IT hub globally, so it only makes sense that this sector will still continue to see a large number of hires. Mr. Harrell, my question for you is: so if 79% of organizations plan to adopt AI-driven security, but only 8% are in production, what are the key barriers to its implementation right now that you can see?
You know, I think I'm less worried about those barriers. Is about more we're worried about what type of security people implement to defend against the new rise of the AI-powered attackers. And I think people are actually asking themselves the wrong question in many cases, which is, you know, can I put AI on top of my existing security stack? Your existing security stack is not going to be sufficient, even if you put AI on top of it, to defend against a modern AI-powered attacker. You're going to lose. It's, you know, I equate it to putting, you know, AI on top of a tank to go into a drone fight. Tank's still going to get blown up. You know, it's a different war now. And, I think when we think about what we believe needs to happen and what we're building here in India and around the world, is this idea of really changing the game to one of a preemptive security model. And if you listen to Gartner, Gartner will tell you that today 95% of the business for security is spent on reactive models, meaning I wait for something to happen and I detect it and then I try to respond as fast as possible. And that's where people are applying AI. Can I shrink that time? But that's not going to work against an AI-powered attacker. You need to anticipate things and you need to take them down and stop them before things can be weaponized. And that's what we mean by preemptive. And Gartner's saying by 2030, 50% of the market spend needs to go to that preemptive model. So going from 95% reactive and 5% preemptive to 50-50. That's a $100 billion opportunity. And we intend to lead that opportunity and help customers with that transition, both here in India as well as globally. And I think that'll create massive opportunity for the teams here in India when we succeed on that.
Right. Mr. Shivaram, what's your take on this? What do you think are the key barriers to implementation as far as AI-driven security is concerned?
I think, like Scott said, AI is changing the game of security, right? You have to build visibility within the network to be able to sense some of these threats. And DNS is the gateway to all of that because every single threat emanates with the the malware or the actor making a DNS request out of the network. And our market leadership and our ownership of the DNS control plane puts us in a very unique position to be able to detect it and to be able to thwart it, right? So we are uniquely positioned to be able to take on this threat and help our customers solve some of these problems.
Right. Talking about DNS security, how does it really work? So, how does DNS layer security help prevent AI-driven and zero-day attacks on critical company infrastructure? Mr. Harrell, this question is for you, and I'll be asking the same one to Mr. Shivram after this.
Sure. So what's great about AI-powered DNS type security is that you can detect and stop things before they ever get weaponized. Most security, as I mentioned, waits for something to happen, waits for a piece of malware to land in your environment, and then tries to detect it and respond it. And once they do that locally, they protect everybody globally. And so they rely on this kind of herd immunity issue, but somebody still has to be patient zero in that scenario. Somebody still has to be the first person to see that in their environment. And oftentimes those are the people that get breached and end up in the newspaper, right? What we do is fundamentally different. With DNS, you can actually watch the threat actors as they start to stage these attacks, as they start to register the domains that they're going to use for these attacks. You can actually see that happen in real time, and you can actually block those domains before they're ever used. And so what it allows us to do is it allows us to actually start to block and stop stuff before the first packet's ever gone to it, on average 68 days in advance, before anybody else in the industry even knows that this is a potentially malicious threat. So before it's ever been weaponized, over 2 months in advance, we're already blocking things. And we do it in an incredibly effective way that has an amazingly low false positive rate, which means that you can deploy it at scale with confidence. Nobody else in the industry can do this. This is unique to Infoblox. We're the first ones to do this way. We're the best ones to do this, and DNS is the only way to do this at scale with this kind of efficacy.
Right, fair enough. I mean, Mr. Shivram, do you domesticate this in any way? Like, do you Indianize this particular software? Is it being, should I say, localized for the benefit of the company in any way?
So I would say a lot of the innovation we build out of the centers in India, be it Bangalore, Trivandrum, or Pune, it's designed for India, but it's also designed for the world. We do have a lot of active customers in India across multiple segments. Could be finance, it could be government, it could be IT and IT-enabled services. Obviously, we can't talk about specific customer names, but we do have a very healthy adoption of our products in India across both enterprise networking as well as security and AI-led initiatives.
Okay, great. So I would say that India is supplying the technology now to the world in a way.
Absolutely. In fact, that's one of the reasons why Infoblox is so committed to India. When you think of our journey in India, we've been here for some time, but truly over the last 3 years is when we've dramatically scaled up the operations. And in the last 9 months, we've literally added about 35% more people. We've gone to a point where in Bangalore, we have a 1,000-seater office. Scott and his entire executive team is in India to kick that off and to strategize for the future. We have thriving investments in Trivandrum, where we have over 250 people working, and we've just started a facility in Pune, which today is primarily engineering with about 100 people, and we have big growth plans across all of the sites. So India is a big part of our growth story. India is also a big focus of investment. And as we think of the future, like you said early on, several of our key strategic products are being built out of India, some of which are almost majority driven out of India, including at a leadership level. So we believe in empowering our teams. We believe in maturing our India presence from what started out as a center of excellence to what I would call as a global capability center. And if you think of a GCC maturity curve, I would argue that for a company of our size, we have gotten to the top right portion incredibly fast, where we have multiple company functions represented, we have global leadership out of the site, and we have the entire team focusing on company level problems and adding solutions and innovations to move the company story forward.
Right. When we're talking about expansion, while it's great for the Indian IT sector, the AI plans for the country, I still there is a sense of vulnerability whenever there is expansion, whenever we hire more and more people, whether it is data privacy breach or whether it is training in the AI field. So, what do you think as cyber threat increases in scale and sophistication? What is India's biggest vulnerability over the next 3 to 5 years? Mr. Shivram, I would invite you to answer this.
I think the organizations and employees working out of India really need to reimagine how their jobs are going to be in the future, especially in the world of AI, because gone are the days when you could hire a graduate from college, invest 3 to 5 years in their development, and then they start to make an impact at that point. Today, with the advent of AI, you can build products much more faster than before, which means that we need to be able to leverage this talent to be able to innovate much faster than before. And that's one of the things we are doing as a company, where we're not only using AI as a productivity tool to make us more efficient, we're embedding AI into our products in terms of differentiated innovation. But more importantly, we're also looking at AI as a participant in this journey, where we enable our employees with what we call digital twins or digital employees, where certain aspects of the job is done completely by AI and the human elevates to a higher order thinking. An average engineer that would take 5 to 7 years before they can design complex systems can now start to do it in their first 2 to 3 years of their career, because the commodity work of writing code is largely done by AI, and the human is focusing on a bigger and a higher order thinking problem. And one of the things that we've actively operationalized in this whole model is tapping into Prime Minister Modi's apprenticeship initiative, right? We are big believers in that. We have gone way beyond what is the statutory minimum in terms of bringing on apprentices, because we believe this is an incredible source of talent. We can bring college hires or kids that are still in college. We can walk them through our product ecosystem, our technologies. We can get them excited about it. And if we can arm them with AI, by the time they graduate, they will be, completely employable. And we wish and we hope that they stay with us, and we create an environment with this office setup, the culture that we have, that they want to stay with us and innovate. But this is a great way of making sure that you're not only leveraging a program that has been created for the country, but you're also using that as a strategic asset in the development of the site.
Right. Mr. Harrell, I have the same question for you, but a little modified. While we spoke about what is being done in India, what is being done globally to avert the cyber threats that are looming, say, in the next 3 to 5 years, outside Infoblox and within the company as well?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's very pertinent to India, though, as well as to the global, is about cyber fraud on a mass
Right.
basis. And so one of the things that's tragic that goes on that has certainly impacted, people in India as well as the globe is this rise of, and sometimes not always, but oftentimes they're Southeast Asia based entities that are perpetrating global fraud. And so
Right.
there's huge tragedy on that side of the people who are victims of it, but they're also victimizing the people they're using to commit that fraud. And so one of the things we do at Infoblox that I'm very proud of, the team works across the globe on, is countering that because these foreign entities, guess what they use to commit this fraud? They're using DNS as a primary mechanism for communication, for actually reconnaissance, for other techniques. And we continuously take them down. We identify them, we take them down on a global basis, and we work with authorities across the world to help do that. And I think that's something that not many companies are able to do at the scale and at the accuracy and the capability we are. And we're going to continue to do that. And so some of this is about protecting companies, but often this is actually highly beneficial to individuals. I think from a cyber threat for companies' point of view, the biggest thing that people need to realize is that it used to be that targeted threats, i.e., things that were unique to a single business or a single individual, were rare. Oftentimes, those were reserved for nation states who were trying to attack other nation states or critical infrastructure. Those are no longer rare. In
Right.
fact, in our one of our recent threat reports, we saw 25 million new malicious domains over the course of about 12 months. Of those, 24 million were only ever seen in a single enterprise, meaning
Mm.
24 million were targeted for a single customer, a single enterprise. And that is a much different world than what we were living in just 3, 4 years ago. The mass personalization of these threats means that you might have thought you were protected because you were in India and you weren't maybe as attractive a target as that company in the US, or as attractive as that target as that company that's in Australia or wherever it might have been, where there's maybe more money. AI unfortunately allows the attackers to personalize things at a enormous scale and be able to go much deeper down the economic curve about who they're going to attack. And that's why I say, like, the way you defend against that has to radically change, and there has to be urgency in making that change, because the old model of detect and respond and relying on somebody else being patient zero no longer works. It's just not going to work, and we can help with that. We can help both from a fraud point of view, particularly as the government tries to protect their citizens, but also from an enterprise point of view, as the enterprise tries to protect their core IP and their core assets.
Right. So I think that kind of sums up what Infoblox is all about and what is the work being done in India and globally. So with that, I would like to thank you again for taking the time out to join us and share your thought. And I wish you a very pleasant day ahead in India and a lovely day ahead.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.